has requested a PVE interview with one of the top, actually not one of the top, but the top PVE player in Korea. That is if the top was measured by the rank 1 title. Anyways, I had the opportunity to interview Jiudau, who is the top dog in Korea when it comes to titles, content, and even whaling. Today, you're going to hear all the important questions regarding Lost Ark PvE answered, including the pay-to-win mechanics. And the only reason why we were able to do so was because Jiudau was gracious enough to join me for a couple hours and answer everything I threw his way. Jiudau speaks fantastic English, as you'll see from this interview, so please do check him out on his Twitch and YouTube channels and show him some love. Links to his channels can be found in the description below, and while you're down there, you'll come across this mysterious thumbs up button, and legend says that if you click it, it turns blue. As for me, I'm streaming 5 days a week on Twitch, and I would really appreciate any follow on that platform, as well as subscribing to this channel here, as I'll be continuing to focus on Lost Ark content. And finally, please keep in mind that what you're about to hear is all a single player's personal thoughts and opinions. I can tell you right now that there will be, for sure, some differing opinions on this. Don't throw any shade at Jiudau. If you disagree with anything he says, just remember, guys, I was the one that sought him out for the information. So without further ado, let's begin. Hello. Hello. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. Okay, so Jiudau, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
English is all right? English is okay?
It's okay.
Okay, cool. So, a little bit, some quick info on Jiudau. Personally, I've always been more of a PvP guy, but I'm really excited to actually do the PvE in this game. From my understanding, you are an endgame player. You're one of the top raiders in KR. You've experienced and completed a lot of the content in Korea. You've played a lot of the multiple classes that are already like max geared or close to max gear. And I also heard that you're low-key a pretty big whale when it comes to Lost Ark. Could you kind of introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello guys. I'm a many people call me ranked player, but yeah, I have 19 characters right now, and all of them goes to the end raid. And I used to have like rank 1 of 10 characters, but since they released the average shoot after that, only my Arcana got to the rank 1 title.
Okay.
Could you
kind of just elaborate? Because a lot of people that have never played this game before are going to be probably watching this. Could you kind of explain what a rank 1 title means?
It's simple. It's just like someone who made their gear level, item level to the max level, and the first one to max level. Yeah.
Wow. So you were the first person that played that class to max out your gear score.
Yep. I used to have 10 characters for that, but many whales got into the Lost Ark, so I just want to keep my Arcana to the top rank.
Gotcha. So yeah. Would you say Arcana is your main class?
That's right.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that sounds pretty good. So I have a list of questions here that I would like to ask you, if that's okay. All right, so let's start with some of these questions. All right, so the first one is actually a very, very generic question, okay? And again, a lot of these questions are going to be targeted towards people that really want to try this game, have never tried it, or have played it just a little bit, that would like to play it. It's coming out in the North America, European regions very soon. So the first question I want to ask you is the basic structure of PvE in Lost Ark. There are many forms of content, right? So there's like there's chaos dungeons, there's the guardian subjugations, there's the raids. Can you kind of walk us through what is considered the PvE content? Like, for example, a lot of people, when they're discussing classes, viability, this and that, a lot of people are saying, well, it kind of depends on what type of content you're going for. It seems like this game, the big focus is a lot on the end game raids. So could you kind of explain kind of what the basic focus of PvE is in KR?
First of all, the basic purpose of many people enhancing their gears. It's like first of all you need to enhance your gears to get to the highest content. That's the first thing, and the second thing, you to enhance your gears, you need to like gather. You need to actually, can I speak in Korean with this?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Okay. 엔드 컨텐츠까지 이제 군단장 레이드까지 캐릭터를 키우기 위해서라면 이제 재료들을 모아야 하는데 그 재료들은 이제 카오스 던전이나 이제 일반 레이드, 가디언 레이드 등을 통해서 이제 그 재료들을 얻게 됩니다.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so to kind of quickly translate that, he's saying that the end game content is the raiding content, and to get to that raiding content, you need to do the other, like the daily content to get enhancement materials for your gear, and that content is like your guardian subjugations and your chaos dungeons, and the daily content that we're all aware of, and you do that content to essentially get mats to experience the end game raid content. Is that fair? Is that a decent translation there?
Yep, it is.
Okay, perfect. So it's fair to say that the main focus, or the end game focus point, the whole purpose of even getting gear and doing dailies is to experience that end game raid.
That's right.
Okay, gotcha. So how often are these raids released?
No, actually, you mean the end content? Or
yes, the end game content.
Originally, the Lost Ark career server, they're releasing the end content each 2 months.
Every 2 months. So it's like a brand new raid every 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And the quality is amazing.
Really?
All of them, they're insane.
Wow. Like just really. So how long does it normally take to complete a raid? That was actually one of my questions later, but
okay. For example, Balton, we took about 2 days to clear.
Okay.
For the calculating in hour, we took about 30 to 40 hours.
Wow, 34 hours.
Yep. And most of the content took something like that.
Okay.
Including the Abershoot, the recent one.
So the focal point of Lost Ark are these insane, awesome raids. Great. But someone like you in your group, you finish it in like 2 or 3 days, and let's just give it another week or two. You finish it on multiple characters. What then? What are you doing after that?
After I finish my main character, main character.
Finish the raid.
On the first clear. After I go with another character to clear that, but since I finished the first raid, my teammates don't have many characters, something like that, so I need to find another party. Even also they're trying the raid, but I've already done it, so I go to that party with another character and like coaching and guiding them to clear the end raid.
Gotcha. And you just pretty much do that until the next raid comes out?
Yep.
So it's just pretty much you finish the raid and you're just doing it for the next 2 months, and everything that you do in between then, you're still doing your dailies and all that stuff, collecting mats, collecting materials, and then rinse and repeat. Is that pretty fair to say? Cool. Is there a limit as to how many times that you can attempt these raids or do these raids? Any type of lockout period?
Actually, it's every week. It's called week raid. All those hard and content raids, they're weekly resetted. So you don't actually have the attempts. I mean, before you since you get the 보상, get the can you interpret? I'm sorry, but can you interpret?
Yeah, of course. 네, 편하시면 한국말 하셔도 돼요. 네.
Before you get the okay. 보상을 받기 전에는 무한으로 이제 트라이가 가능해요. 그러니까 트라이에는 제한이 없고 매주 초기화가 보상을 받으면 매주 이제 그 보상을 다시 받을 수 있는 그런 느낌입니다.
아, 그러니까 보상을 일단 안 받으면 계속 할 수 있는 거죠.
네. 하지만
네.
클리어하는 순간 보상을 받기 때문에
네네네. 그래서 근데 이제 보상을 받고 난 뒤에는 그래도 보상 없이는 그래도 할 수는 있어요.
할 수 없어요. 엔드 컨텐츠는 그렇게 할 수 없습니다.
아, 그렇구나. Okay, so as far as there is a weekly, so 그 일주일 끝나면 다시 리셋 되는 거죠. 다시 처음부터. 네. So there is a reset on the raids every week. If you clear the dungeon, or I'm sorry, the raid, if you clear it, then you're locked out. You can't do it. You can't even repeat it for 0 rewards. If you haven't cleared it or received loot or rewards from that raid, then you can continue to do it an unlimited amount of times. There is no limit to how many attempts that you can have per day. Perfect. All right. So that kind of, to be honest, that was actually just more of an intro question. So let's go to the next question here. Number 2, what is a normal day like for a PvE player? I know you kind of just answered this in the first, so we can kind of go through this a little bit quickly, but what would be a normal day? Like you log in and what are you doing? Walk us through.
My daily schedule is like I go to sleep and when I wake up, I turn on my computer, I log into Lost Ark.
Very detailed.
I play daily stuff. I mean daily Guardian raids
Sure.
and the Chaos dungeons.
Mhm.
After that, I find a party that I can go, like Balton, Beakis, Kuku Satan, wherever I should. And actually, that's all. That takes the whole day to clear like 4 or 5 dungeons.
Right.
Like I mean, end raids, and then I go to sleep. And that repeats every day, every single day.
Wow. So
I've-
wow, okay.
Okay. And I've been doing that for like over 2 years in Lost Ark.
Wow. That is some serious dedication. So, can I ask you, you said so you do your dailies. That's a big part of progression in this game to get enhancement mats and to upgrade your gear. How long would you say it takes you on a daily basis to finish your dailies?
For example, Chaos dungeons, you got to play two dungeons. I mean, you have 2 tickets to play the Chaos dungeons every day per each character, and I have 19 characters, so I have to play 38 times in Chaos dungeon, and I think it takes over 4 hours
4 hours. Wow. Okay.
for the Chaos dungeon. And the Guardian raids, you also have 2 tickets per each character, and I've got to do the 38 times, and it takes about 6 hours.
Right. Now, I want to mention this, guys. Remember, this is the guy that was literally rank 1, meaning that he was the highest gear, the first person to reach max gear score across multiple characters. So like this play schedule, of course it's his personal play schedule, but this is really the min max. This is really, like, if you're trying to be the number 1 PvE player Kirito style, this is this would be the benchmark for it. What are the importance of life skills? So life skilling in the West is always something very, very. It's a big focal point with a lot of games. A lot of people are very much interested in the life skilling. Can you tell us a little bit about the life skills in this game and how important it is?
It's life skills, something like fishing, gathering some flowers, something like that. Are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
You have 6 life skills that you can do. Each of them is called. Can I speak in Korean?
Of course,
with this?
absolutely.
식물 채집, 벌목,
네.
채광, 수렵, 낚시, 그리고 고고학.
네네.
Antique, yeah. There's 6 part of life skills, and each of them you have a level that you can get by doing those stuff, doing those activities, and but the purpose of doing the life skill activities is to get the woods, like woods flowers. They're all need in the your 원정대 영지. Okay, I'm mixing all the
It's okay to
words in
mix.
Korean.
It's actually okay to mix because I'll kind of recap. Yeah.
6가지 생활 스킬들이 있는데
네.
각각 스킬마다 이제 레벨이 있고 그 스킬 그 생활을 하면서 얻는 것들에는 여러 가지가 있어요. 뭐 예를 들어서 내실이라고 말할 수 있는 이제 그런
네네네.
것들이 있고 그리고 이 친구들로 그 원정대 영지에서 이제 원정대 영지에서 재료를 만들 수 있어요. 그러니까
네네네.
아이템들을 만들 수 있어요. 예를 들어 포션이나
네네네.
물약, 배틀 아이템
네네네.
등등을 만들 수 있습니다. 그게 거의 주 목적이고요.
네네네.
그리고 그거 그 외에 다른 용도로 사용하시는 분들은 많이 본 적은 없는 것 같아요. 보통 이제
아.
게임 내에서 배틀 아이템 수급을 위해서 많이 사용을 하시는 것 같아요.
그게 이제 만들면서 돈을 좀 많이 벌 수가 있는 거예요? 아니면 그냥 개인으로 쓰기 위해서?
사용하기 위해서 만들 수도 있고
네네네.
이제 그냥 요 활동을 하면서 얻는 재료들을 그냥 팔아서 골드를 수급을 할 수도 있습니다.
그 골드를 꽤 많이 되나요? 아니면
어,
그 정도까지는?
그렇게 큰 비중을 차지하진 않지만 어느 정도는 나오는 걸로 알고 있어요.
알겠습니다. So life skilling, guys, there are 6 different life skills. If you don't know what they are, Google's your best friend. So yeah, like so that's no secret, right, guys? So there's 6 life skills in this game, and when it comes to life skills, you're essentially the main focus of doing life skills are to get mats that you're going to be using to craft things like potions and pots and battle pots and things like that. That's pretty much the focal point of life skills. It's pretty much the point of it. And then I went ahead and asked him, okay, like, because you could obviously sell those potions and stuff like that. Is it something that's very profitable? And he says it is profitable, but it's not something that you're gonna just be like the richest person on the server. You know, like it's not to that degree. It is pretty profitable, but nothing like super insane. Nothing to that degree. But the vast majority of the people, they do life skills to be able to craft those pots and items that they need for the raids. Is that pretty fair? 저도 만약에 통역을 잘못하면 말씀해 주세요.
아니야 통역 잘해주고 계시는데 제가
네.
단어가 생각이 잘 안 나서.
I was just saying if I'm mistranslating, please call me out on it. So. All right, so that's fair. Okay, one more thing about so I kind of want to do /housing because housing I've heard that life skilling is directly linked to housing because a lot of the stuff that you get from life skills you have to do that through housing. So could you kind of tell us a little bit about housing then? Are they connected? If so, or whether they are or not, can you kind of tell us a little bit about the importance of housing? Excuse me.
Actually, the housing is for the design of your house. I mean the house. It's not very important, but you can invite your friends to your house and show your housing stuff, like show your furnitures in your house. You can make all those furnitures with the life materials.
Skills.
Yep, life materials, and you don't need to buy them in cash or something. You don't need to pay for the furnitures. You only need to just do the life activities. Yeah.
Gotcha. So housing is not pay to win, and to upgrade and flex on your housing, you do it through life skilling. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also for the housing, you can upgrade some what do I have to say about this? You can upgrade some housing stuff and also your character. Okay. 이게 그 영지에서 그 업그레이드를 할 수가 있어요. 업그레이드 할 수가 있는데 you can upgrade some stuff in your house, and it's related to your character enhancement speed and character enhancement materials get lesser by upgrading this stuff.
그러니까 만약에
네.
제가 무기를
네.
업그레이드를 하고 싶으면 이걸 업그레이드를 하면 제가 그걸 들어가는 그
재료들이나 그런 게 좀 싸게
싸게
가능한.
아
네.
네네네네네 그렇구나. 그러면 다른 거는 그 이제 뭐 예를 들어서 그 집에서 무기를 업그레이드를 같은 거를 할 수 있잖아요. 그 무조건 어느 정도 집을 키워야 되나요? 왜냐하면 그걸 무기도 집에서 업그레이드를 할 수 있는 거 있으니까 아니면
Uh, there's no limit if
음,
you don't, but like if you don't upgrade, it doesn't matter about your enhancement
음,
level or something, but you can put lesser materials and lesser
okay.
golds, lesser stuff by upgrading your some skills in your
Sure,
house.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
So the housing system to kind of get you guys up to speed. The housing system here, by upgrading some of the things that you do through housing, that's probably a better way of putting it. It allows you to enhance your gear with less cost to the actual enhancement. So like let's say it costs you like 100 crystals to enhance something, right? By upgrading that specific thing, you can have it so that it requires less crystals. So discounts essentially, right? Okay, so outside of that, is there anything else related to gear, to your actual gear with housing?
That that's all that I've told you, but uh, some there's called 훈련소. I
네.
mean forge.
Forge, okay.
Okay.
네.
You can, if you already, for example, if you already have 60 battle level,
Mm-hmm.
60 battle level of one of your character, you can put some, like, you can put some uh ingredients
Mm-hmm.
to get other character to level 59.
Oh,
So you don't need to play all of your characters 50 to 60. You
oh,
can
okay.
just put him in the forge, or like barrack, and
Mm-hmm.
you just leave him all day, like a week or some
Oh,
day.
okay. Do you have to be
It goes
online?
up. Not online. You,
You
you
don't
can
have to.
just log off. It's
Wow.
okay.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah,
So-
it gets the level to 59.
oh,
So
that's awesome. Wow.
yeah, there's some systems like that.
Fantastic. All right. So I think we're good. I think we're good with that. Next question. And sorry, I'll try to speed through this as fast as possible. So there are mechanics that are unique to Lost Ark, such as destruction and impairment mechanics with boss fights. Can you kind of explain how these mechanics work? And are there any other mechanic that's unique to Lost Ark?
Um, Actually, Lost Ark was my first RPG game,
Okay.
so I didn't play other RPG games,
Gotcha.
but that all I know, like, in, for example, destruction, it means 파괴, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The destruction, to kill the boss, you need to do uh several things
Mm-hmm.
to get him, like, for example, destruction, when you go to the turtle raid, it's called like Kungilanium.
Mm-hmm.
It And to get the turtle, you got to destruct his back shield to put more damage on him.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, it goes like that, but simply for the destruction, you need to take the bomb, the destruction bomb,
Mm-hmm.
to destruct the boss.
Okay.
And for the impairment, um, I know that destruction and impairment got the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, impairment is uh, like slicing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
know, like slicing the boss's wings or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In Korea, after the season 2, uh, com- they included the destruction and impairment as the same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, um, simply, they to put more damage on the boss, you need to destruct or impair him That's the simple mechanism.
Gotcha.
I know. Okay.
Gotcha. That's totally fair. Gotcha. Okay, cool. So next question would be number 5. How long do raid clears take from an average group? I know that you kind of mentioned earlier for you, normally it took you and your group maybe a couple of days. What would you say would be an average for just, you know, just not like super casual people, but people that are, you know, playing this every day, but maybe can't play it 6 hours a day? You know what I mean? Like the average person.
30 minutes to the Guardian raid.
Oh no,
that
sorry.
you need to
I meant just the raids. So like the end game raid
Oh.
content. Yeah, like, because it's
Oh.
obviously very difficult to do, right? Is how long would you say a normal group would take to finish it?
It depends on the difficulty on the raid. For example, the recent raid Abershut takes about 3 hours with all good people. No, not good people.
Geared
I
people.
mean,
Geared people.
yeah, geared people.
Okay.
It takes about 3 hours
Okay.
to clear the whole raid.
Right.
And the Bekis, it takes about an hour to clear it,
Gotcha.
including other raids.
Right. And it's got to be, if it's a 3 hour raid, it's got to be a good 3 hours, obviously. So like that would be random, right? So maybe your group, it'll take you 2 days. Another group, it'll take them 2 weeks or something. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, what are the must-have classes in a raid, if there are any? If there are any.
It could be very sensitive question.
We could keep it broad though. So like, for example, I don't know, because again, we're assuming that people don't know anything about this game. Maybe it's like, for example, in a raid, you absolutely have to have 2 people playing a support class, like a bard or a holy knight or something like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe we can kind of keep it a little bit broader. You don't have to say, oh, you know, striker. Like no one wants a striker. I'd rather have a blade. Not like comparing, you know, melee DPS, but just in general, as far as like the rules go. Are there any must-have classes in a raid?
Generally, you need 1 bard or the 1 holy knight for each 4-man party. That's the basic thing. But all the dealer classes, I mean DPS classes, don't get abandoned for the some raid particular raids. You don't get abandoned. So I think supporters gonna be the must-have classes for every raid, but it's not fun. I don't recommend you guys to play the supporter if you don't like to play.
Really? Why is that?
First of all, if you don't have your partner DPS class, you need to play all the raids solo. I mean, including the Chaos Dungeon, the raids. But you can go to matchings. I mean,
Right.
you can go with the random people, but you can have like some troubles with those people. For example, there's some towers that
Yeah.
you need to solo play to get some materials for enhancement. But the towers, it's very hard for the bards and the holy knight because it's not set to be DPS, but you need to clear that dungeon and you need to kill the boss.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's not so much. So you don't recommend people playing support, not so much because it's very difficult to play support in the raid, not so much that, but you don't recommend it because getting geared and the shit that you need to do on a daily basis and the solo stuff that you need to do is very difficult.
Yes, that's right.
Gotcha. Totally fair. So, kind of elaborate. So it sounds like to me, if there is a must-have class, it would definitely be a support class, like a holy knight or a bard, or aka paladins, they're going to call it in the States. And as far as the DPS goes, you're not going to really be abandoned or discriminated against based off of the class you're playing. They're all the dealer or the DPS classes are all pretty good. It's not an issue on what class you really want to play if you want to play DPS. Is that fair to say?
Yep, that's right.
Perfect. Okay, so I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. That really allows everyone to kind of play the classes they want. Can I ask you one question in regards to that, though? You said ideally maybe have 2 supports. In a best case scenario, like let's say you're really rushing to be server first, world first. Would you want to run with a bard and a Holy Knight, or would you rather have 2 bards, or would you rather have 2 Holy Knights, or would you like rather have 3 supports? Like if you were rushing for serve first, what support composition would you actually have for your raid? Or does that depend on the actual boss itself?
If I play when I play Arcana, I don't really mind about how many supporters, because the synergy of the buffs that supports give to the DPS, it doesn't stacks. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
What I want to
it
say?
doesn't stack. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't stack. So each you only need 1 supporter for the 4-man party. So
Okay.
yeah, the other DPS having other synergies would be better to take rather than 3 supporters.
Gotcha. So if you have a party of 4, and someone's playing a Holy Knight in that party, if you are also another Holy Knight or a Bard, then you probably won't be able to get into that group.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, perfect. All right, let's go to the next question here. Are there classes that clearly perform better at their respective roles than others? If so, which? So I feel like we can almost skip that question because that was kind of asked. Okay. It was kind of like the same question. As to kind of elaborate, and you could just agree with me if this is true. All the DPS classes, if they're all performing relatively close to each other. I'm sure you can min-max and really figure out who's performing better, but at the end of the day, they're so close that you're really not going to not be able to find a group because of the class that you're playing. And as far as support goes, it's going to be either between a Holy Knight / Paladin, as they call it in the States, or in the West rather, and Bard. Those are the 2 true support classes. So we'll have, in a party of 4, you'll have 1 spot go to the support, either a Bard or a Holy Knight, and the other, and both, and it doesn't matter which of the 2, and the other DPS classes, it'll just be whoever. Is that fair to say? Is that right?
Yes, it's right.
Perfect. All right, so let's go to next question. Are classes locked into a quote-unquote meta build, or is build diversity a thing?
There's some classes that are locked into like meta build, but most of the class have the actually, before I say that, there's two engravings that you can give to each classes, but you only there's some classes that can use both of the class engravings, but some classes they're locked into 1 engravings because the other engravings doesn't work very good. So there's some classes that are locked into the meta build, but most of the classes can use the various of the settings. I mean, for example, my Arcana is using the Hwanghu. I mean, I don't know what it's called. What's the word in English? But
yeah, that's okay.
There's
that's
1 class engravings that are in the meta, but the other class engravings you can use it, but it has like 10% lesser DPS than the first one. So there can be some DPS differences, but it doesn't really matter because I think the RPG means what you want to just play, what you want to play.
Sure.
I mean, like, if you like, you don't need to like listen to other people saying about these classes. Just if you like that class, you can just play that class.
Okay.
But,
so it sounds like to me that based off of engravings and not so much gear, but more so engravings, that there certainly are templates. But to say that every class is, and there's obviously a little bit of variance from each class with this, but generally speaking, there's a template for builds, but specifically, it's not like a single build. You know, it has to be these specific engravings, and it has to be built this specific way and use these specific skills. It has to be played this specific way. It doesn't seem like that is really the case. There is a little bit of flexibility with how you want to build the character, but to a certain degree. Within that template. Is that fair, or is that kind of what you're saying, or?
Good. And also, even you can go the DPS with Bard and Holy Knight.
And you could even go like a DPS build. Right, gotcha. Now, if you did go on a DPS build with like a, let's say a Bard, would you get discriminated against? Like, would people try to leave you out of a party, or is their DPS builds just as good with
it has almost same DPS as other same gear classes.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's
And
very.
I've done it in the Cuckoo Satan, the recent raid. Yeah.
Oh, you've actually done it yourself. Okay. Wow.
Yes.
So if you were to play a DPS Bard, then would you? Because remember earlier you said you wouldn't really recommend support because of all the stuff that you have to do. You know, like solo. But if you're playing like a DPS Bard, you wouldn't be considered a support, so that would be fine.
Yes, that's just fine.
Okay, cool.
That's why Korean support users have the two settings. One is DPS, and the second one is the support setting.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, when they solo play, they usually play with the DPS settings, and usually when they play the party play, they use the support settings. So you need to make two settings for
Right.
supporters.
Gotcha.
That's very hard at the first. If it's your first character, it could be a little bit hard.
A little bit hard to do that, yeah. And I was gonna actually ask you that, but that's gonna be a question that we're gonna eventually get to here. But to kind of move on, this was actually a question from Chad. Buff/debuff synergy for classes. I feel like this was kind of answered already, but indirectly. But buff/debuff synergy for classes. Now, are there classes that synergize better with other classes based off of things like buffs and debuffs that you can cycle between?
Usually people like to go with the crit synergy and the 공격력. 공격력 증가.
So damage buff and crit rate buff.
Yeah, damage buff and the crit rate buff, and also it's similar to the damage buff, but there's a buff that gives your the 이게 공격력을 늘려주는 버프가 있고
네네네네.
보스가 받는 피해를 늘려주는 버프가 있어요. 그러니까 우리
네네.
팀의 공격력을 올려주는 버프가 있고
네.
보스한테 디버프를 걸어서 받는 피해를 증가시키는
아, 그죠. 예.
그거를 영어로
Okay, so he's saying the two buffs. He's having a hard time figuring. So there's a buff that increases the party's damage, and then there's another buff that increases the amount of damage taken by the boss. So he's trying to figure out what the word is for that. But yes, got it. Okay.
Yeah, crit damage,
Crit
defense
damage,
destruct, and bad or back or head attacks energy.
Okay, so having classes that have these buffs would be good to have. You don't want the same classes to just be carrying the same type of buffs, right? Because buffs and debuffs don't stack. You'd want like a variety of buffs and debuffs. Is that correct?
That's right. But even though same classes doesn't stack, but the different classes can stack the synergy.
Different classes can. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Understood.
For example, Gunslinger has the crit synergy, and the Arcana has the crit synergy, and Devil Hunter has the crit synergy. If those three got into the one party, you can get 10% each crit synergy, and it equals 30% of the synergy.
Okay, so it really depends on a buff by buff, class by class situation, pretty much.
Yes, that's right.
Gotcha. And we're definitely not going to sit and go through all of them. But also these buffs and debuffs are also situational to obviously, I'm sure, different bosses and different mechanics of the bosses and stuff like that, right?
That doesn't really mind about which buff synergy you want to take for each raid. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You just take every synergies. It's okay for the bosses.
Gotcha. All right, next question. Now, this is a question that I've been asked quite a bit, actually. So, do some classes scale better than others? And I'm not talking about like, oh, this class is going to outperform this class, because we've already established that all the DPSs are pretty similar, right? But how are there classes that scale better and worse at higher and lower gear scores? Higher gear required for some classes to perform. For example, I've heard that there are certain classes that don't perform as well at like a lower gear bracket, but then when they hit higher gear brackets, they perform just as well, or something like that. Or how is this? Can you kind of explain that with the scaling with classes?
There's a tripod in your skills, if you choose one skill, there's a tripod, 3 tripods that you can set up,
Sure.
and each tripod has level 1 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
but some tripod has like limited to 1.
Mm-hmm.
At the low gear level, you only can set up the tripod level to 1 or 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
But at the high gear, I mean the end gear or high gear, you can make the level to level 5.
Okay.
But every tripod doesn't have the same effects. I mean the same 단계가 같은.
It's not proportional, I feel like, is what you want to try to say.
Yes, that's right.
It's not proportional. So some tripods, some skills, some classes could be higher than others. Gotcha.
And simply, Arcana has the tripod that main skills called Celestial Rain or Secret Garden, and on that skill, in that skill, there's a tripod called you get more critical percent on that skill. But if it's level 1, you only can get 15%. But if you get level 5, you can get 45% of crit percentage on that skill. So Arcana, it's not good at low gear level, but it gets very high performance on the high gear level. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are classes that scale a little bit better. So like, you know, Arcana, for example, if they're in tier 1 gear, they're not like, if we judge every class based off of their tier 1 gear, Arcana is going to be performing better relative to the other classes in like a tier 3 gear. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so there definitely are classes that perform that might not perform better at lower gear scores, let's say like 1,000 gear score, but then really start picking it up at like 1,400 gear score, whatever that may be. Is that fair to say?
Right.
Okay. And that kind of leads me to the next question here, which is, are there classes that perform better at tier 1 than at tier 3 raid gear? Because apparently there are different set effects. Is there like a slight, and again, I know that all the DPS classes, they're all very close to each other, but is there a little bit of a shift in class performance when we get to that?
Honestly, to say, tier 1, it's not a very important stairs. I mean, it's not very important tier.
Sure.
Yeah, but since it's gonna be released in the Europe or the North America, it could be very important. But
Sure.
since the tier gets higher, you are going to make more classes. Like, you're going to make more characters. Like, I haven't been playing in tier 1 and 2 for so long time. So
Right. Difficult to remember.
I can't. It's hard to say what's better and what performs better. But
that's fair.
That leads me to speak, like, say that just play classes that you want to play.
Sure, of course, absolutely, and that's totally fair to say. So, going on that, this kind of a sub question. What was the, like, when Korea first launched Lost Ark?
Yeah.
Excuse me. What was the highest tier gear? Was it tier 1? Was that the end game for a while?
Highest tier gear was tier 1, and you only can get up to 545 item level at that point.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are actually starting to wonder, you know, because in North America, when we get it, we have no idea what the tier, what the max gear is going to be. Maybe it's with Korea, maybe they limit us to tier 1, maybe it's tier 2, whatever that may be. So there are people that are concerned with saying, with their classes, thinking, you know, hey, you know, I heard my class, you know, doesn't really shine until after, you know, whatever, 1,300, 1,400 gear score, whatever that may be. Like, do I really, is like, you know, if we're stuck in tier 1 gear for the longest time, should I be thinking about playing a different class? To that, you would say what? What would you say to that?
The balancing stuff got very good because of the efforts they put on the Lost Ark game. And you actually don't really need to worry about which class would be very bad or very good for that.
Gotcha. So balancing, the classes are tight enough. The classes are tight enough when it comes to performance, regardless of scaling. even though scaling is a thing, the classes are tight enough. The balance has always been pretty solid. I guess with the balance 항상 좀 나쁘진 않았어요. PVE에서는.
요즘 되게 많이 맞춰지고 있어요. 되게 밸런스 조절을 잘 해놔서 거의 다
네네.
낮은 구간에서도 어느 정도 비슷비슷하다고 보시면 될 것
네.
같아요.
I don't know about like at launch early days of Lost Ark, but especially in recent days the balancing's been really good. So he's really saying don't worry about that. Just play the class that you would like to play. Okay. Next question. How easy is it to respec or change a build if we're talking about money / investment wise?
I have a lot to say about this.
Oh,
About
really?
this.
Okay.
Okay. Since they made the DPS room now in Korea, you can have investment on all the engravings for free, all the skills, all the engravings for free. So if you have enough time, you can put your time into the DPS room and check which skill, which engravings is best for you to play about that character. But to change your gears, accessories, and stuff, you need to spend money. Actually, it could be the game money. It's called gold, but you can just spend gold. But you can pay the cash in the Lost Ark shop to change your money to the gold. And I can say in Korea, if you want to change your build on my level, I mean over 1,400 level, it will cost about more than $100 in USD.
Gotcha.
Just for the money. Yeah.
Just if you're gonna do it just by paying. Gotcha. Great answer. What about what if you didn't want to pay? Like how long time wise do you think it would take if you're trying to farm that money in game?
If you play all the daily stuff and the weekly stuff, we can also get the money also by doing the life skills stuff. You can earn golds to change your build, and it will take about 2 weeks for me to change that build without putting my cash, real money to it, just only the game money.
Gotcha. Totally fair. All right. Totally fair answer, that is. Okay, next question. Is it possible, this is the big one, right? Is it possible to play this game completely free to play and finish all the PvE content? Is it possible to be free to play and be competitive? And if so, regardless, what would be the best way to progress as a free to play player?
Since I've spent about, how much did I spend?
Would love to know that, actually. Wasn't sure if I could ask you that because I feel like it might be a little personal, but I've heard you've spent quite a bit of money in there. I'm just bringing this up because you've brought it up now, and I feel like I have the green light to say something on it.
Okay. I've spent about like $700,000 in this game. 8억.
8억 냈어요?
네.
Wow. Yeah, so that's about with exchange rate, that's equivalent to 800,000 USD, but but if you consider the exchange rate, the actual true conversion would be about $730,000. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I don't recommend you guys to play by paying your real money to this game because it's really a free game to play. It just needs you to spend more time in the game. It doesn't need you to spend your money actually, if you spend your money, real money to this game, like many people say pay to win, it's not, you can't say like pay to win because you only buying the time, not the other things.
You're buying time, not gear, essentially.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but also it could be the same thing because you can buy the accessories or you can upgrade your gears by going to the end raid using money more faster.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like a lot of that money was spent because you wanted the rank 1 titles. Is that
That's
true?
right. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. In regards to that, you've spent a lot of money in this game, and that was over the span of how many years? 3? Is it 3 years?
A year.
A year.
Yep.
You've only been a year?
I'm playing it for 3 years without spending any money, but
Oh.
I got very excited when it comes to season 2, when it came to season 2.
Okay.
So I've been spending money since last year, August 15th. It's almost a year.
Okay,
now.
so great, fantastic. So you have the perspective of a free-to-play player for season 1 and a whale for season 2, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about that. At the end of season 1 versus where you're at now. Now I get it. You got the rank 1 titles, fantastic. Forget about that. At the end of season 1, were you, because there's a gear cap, there's a gear score limit in this game, right? Like did you reach that hard cap as a free-to-play player?
I reached the rank 1 in Arcana in season 1 also.
Oh, in season 1 also? Okay.
Without spending hardly any money.
So how much? Okay, hold on. But without spending hardly any money could be like 100 grand to you. So like, how much is hardly any money?
Okay.
Like, how much did you spend that season then?
$10,000.
10,000 USD. Okay, so 10,000. So the difference between 10,000 USD in a year versus $700,000, $730,000 in a year, you still achieved the same thing. You still achieved the rank 1 hard cap. Is that true?
But there's difference because I have 10 or more characters in rank right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to spend more money to get other characters.
Other
to
characters
the
there.
rank. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But,
So, sorry, go ahead.
But for only one character, you don't really need to spend that much. It's
Okay.
Like, overspending.
Gotcha. So you spent a lot more money season 2, significantly more, but that was also going to other characters because you had 10 characters that went rank 1. When it came to season 1, where you spent 10K and still got the rank 1 on your Arcana, were there anyone else? Like, what I'm trying to ask is, if you don't care about that title, is it possible to hit the same gear score and have your character perform at the same level? Like, if I were a free-to-play player and I played 되게 열심히 했어요. 만약에 like I played very, like I just put a lot of effort and I was completely free to play. Am I going to hit the hard cap in gear, and is my character going to be just as strong as your character? Now, your character might have been at that level for forever, but am I going to eventually get there without spending any money before the season's over?
Still, I'm on the 1,582 level.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't spend any money, but you played very hard,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of time in Lost Ark,
Mm-hmm.
you can still get up to 1,530 or
Okay.
something like that. But still, there's a gap.
There's a
but
gap.
It doesn't matter too much because
Gotcha.
you can go to the end raid with that. It
Gotcha.
doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So as a free-to-play player, you're still going to be competitive. You're still going to be able to finish all PVE content. But your performance is going to be just a little bit behind those whales. But not like, it's not going to be like you're doing twice the damage as the other guy, right? As the free-to-play player that's been playing really hard.
Not the twice. Like, it could be 1x5.
Maybe 50% more?
times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But he will definitely have enough. Okay. Gotcha. So next question. If you are free to play and you're not like super hardcore into the game, okay, are you going to be able to finish any of these raids?
Yeah. That doesn't make any problem.
Really?
To finish this raid.
I'm just wondering, because you're saying that, okay, even as a free to play player, you can be pretty close to someone that spends, 10,000. So if that's the case, like, how much does that free to play player have to play? Like, does he need to have like 83 alts like you do, or it can? Mm-hmm.
you only need to play like 5 hours per day
Okay.
if you don't want to play or more. But 5 hours play will be okay to make your character to end content with the whales.
With
You
the
can
whales.
just go with the whales. It doesn't really matter
Gotcha.
how you spend.
Perfect.
Actually spending money, like between free player to the whale player, you can also go the same rate, but the difference between zero spending money versus like uh 100K dollar player, there's only the difference is the DPS.
Okay.
You can just play all same content with the whales. It doesn't care any all. It doesn't matter.
You can play the same content. Okay, gotcha. It's just the DPS performance.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I think that's important to know. As far as if you're free to play, I honestly think, because again, guys, let's reiterate, this is for PVE. PvP is perfectly balanced. For PVE, as a free to play player that's playing about 5 hours a day, you will be experiencing and completing the same content that the whales will be.
Yeah.
Correct. Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. I think that's a great answer. And of course, I feel like Jiudau of all people will be able to really give us the inside scoop here and give us real information on the discussion of how pay to win this game is. We've just heard it. Okay, so you can kind of go on your own. Okay, actually, before I ask this question, so as a free-to-play player, what's the best way to progress? Like, if you're like, hey, I'm totally free to play, what's the best way to actually get your gear up and progress?
I only can say that spending time can upgrade your gears.
So, like, I heard it's like just making a bunch of alt characters and just doing it over and over and over and over again. Is that true?
Yep, that's right.
Gotcha. To be competitive, though, like, how many alts would you say you need to 돌려 or to play or to
the characters, alt characters?
Yeah, how many would you say to be competitive as a free to play?
Normally, many people play 3 or 4 alt characters.
Okay.
With one main character. That's all.
Gotcha. 3 to 4. The more the better, obviously, though, right? Okay. Next question. In your opinion, how much and what kind of advantage does paying to win give you? So this is kind of like the same question. Sorry, I should have proofread these questions. So
okay.
It's
just your own satisfaction. It doesn't matter on the raid. You can just enjoy looking at more DPS than free players. That's all.
Right. Is there a DPS meter though in the game?
There's not in game, but only in the DPS room.
Oh, gotcha. In the DPS room. Gotcha. All right, perfect. All right, next question is, this is actually the last question. If you were to pay to win, what is the best way to do so?
It's a very hard question.
So we do have people that want to whale out, and a lot of people want to know, okay, I'm ready to throw my money into this game. What do I need to buy? What and of course it's, there's things that are changing on a week-to-week basis, but if you can kind of just give a basic outline, like for example, I don't know, let's say in the cash shop there's an event, like they'll have weekly deals, keep an eye out for those weekly deals and buy them when they sell good stuff. Or maybe it's like, hey, buy, like in BDO, it's like the only way to pay to win is to buy costumes and sell that shit on the marketplace. Like what would you say is the most effective way to pay to win in this game?
You need to buy all the packages, all the packages stuff in the Lost Ark shop.
Okay.
And also you charge the crystal and you change it to gold.
Gotcha.
And since you get the gold by changing in the trade market, you buy the materials for enhancement and then you enhance.
Gotcha.
With that gold. Yeah.
Pretty simple, it seems like. Pretty simple. And by the shop, do you mean the 마리의 비밀 상점?
Yeah, including the Mary's secret
shop. Okay. And then sometimes you'll have some packages like this that come out that might be worth.
See on your left side. the weekly and the monthly stuff.
Gotcha. Now, like for you, like just out of curiosity, feel free to not answer this if you don't want to, but like, are you pretty much buying these every week, like max 3 for 3?
Since I get over 500k
Mm-hmm.
every week, 500k of gold every week,
Mm-hmm.
over sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
I don't actually need to buy those stuffs anymore because I gain a lot of gold by playing my characters.
By playing the alts. Okay.
So not anymore, but I did.
You did. Okay. So like now moving forward, because you have a lot of alt characters set up and you're playing a lot, right? Now, is it possible, like, let's say season 4 came out, like next season came out, like the next season, if you didn't pay to win, but you have like all these alts set up and you're making that much money every day, is it possible for you to hit rank 1 or max gear score or something like that? Or no, you're going to have to swipe again if you want to get that.
It's possible.
It is possible. Okay.
Yep, it's possible.
Okay. So I just asked him, because he's making over 500,000 gold a day, right? Is it possible to keep up and be in the rankings and be considered a ranker for him now? Like I said, if the new season were to start today and he didn't swipe and he played free to play, but he's, you know, obviously invested into this game enough with all of his alt characters and making all that money per day, like 500k a day, is it possible for him to now go the free to play route and still be considered a ranker? And he said it is possible for him. So that's good to know.
Oh, actually, it's per week.
Per week. Gotcha. Perfect. All right. Well, to be honest, that was all the questions that I had. This in itself is going to be the end of the first video. So, guys, if you guys did like the video, please like and subscribe. Show Jiudau some love. He's streaming on Twitch. How many days a week are you streaming on Twitch, Jiudau?
Only 5 days.
5 days a week. You guys have to check him out. 저녁 시간? 한국 저녁 시간인가요?
한국으로 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. in KR time.
Korean time, 4 p.m. So that would be like NA mornings, guys. NA mornings, Korea evening, late afternoon to evenings. Definitely check him out. I mean, the guy is super knowledgeable about the game. Great content creator, and he speaks fantastic English. Seriously, his English is phenomenal. So definitely check him out. All right, guys.